Is AEW's television deal in jeopardy? And where oh where is MJF? But first, the Undisputed Elite have exploded. During last night's episode of AEW Dynamite, the Undisputed Elite, Adam Cole, the Young Bucks, Kyle O'Reilly, and Bobby Fish would join each other in the ring ahead of the upcoming Trios Championship tournament. Cole would take to the mic to tell the audience that he and O'Reilly aren't yet medically cleared, and he'd tell the Bucks that if they don't choose Bobby Fish as their third in the tournament, then the Undisputed Elite can't compete. He'd then say he isn't using his words correctly, before telling the Bucks that what he meant to say was they won't be physically capable of taking part. Cole, Fish, and O'Reilly would then attack Matt and Nick, beating them down in the ring, this leading to an unlikely appearance from former Elite member Hangman Page, at which point the three attackers would leave the ring. This appears to be a sign that it will be Hangman joining the Young Bucks to complete the trio for the tournament. However, some anticipate that this could lead to the return of Kenny Omega to mix things up, although there is no sign of him showing up just yet. Either way, the friendship between the Young Bucks and Hangman Page may be back on, following their high-profile split since the birth of AEW. And speaking of breakups, another AEW stable has officially broken up. Last week, Team Taz's Hook would defeat stablemate Ricky Starks for the FTW Championship, which then led to Powerhouse Hobbs, who is also a member of the group, attacking Ricky Starks to begin a rivalry between the two. On last night's episode of Dynamite, faction leader Taz would announce that Team Taz is officially over, with the members going their separate ways as single stars. Taz would then later take to Twitter to thank the 4 former members of his group, and he would write, "Last thing I'd like to say is, we've had a lot of ups and downs with our group, but in my opinion, we had more good times than bad. It really was a lot of fun, and I want to give a huge thank you to the guys, Hook, Ricky Starks, Powerhouse Hobbs, and Brian Cage." For now, it seems Hook is going off on his own as FTW champion, with Ricky Starks now being a singles babyface star, whilst Powerhouse Hobbs continues to be a monster heel in a feud with Starks. As for former member Brian Cage, his future seems to lie in Ring of Honor, although of course he hasn't been a member of Team Taz for quite some time. But what did you make of Team Taz's run in AEW? Was it a success, or could they have done more? Let me know in the comments down below. Next up, a former WWE superstar has announced her pregnancy. For some time now, Cassie Lee, the former Peyton Royce of the Iconics, and AEW's Shawn Spears have been in a public relationship, marrying in August 2019. Well, last night, Cassie would take to Instagram to post a video that showed the moment that she revealed to her husband that she was pregnant, before showing a time-lapse of the baby bump over recent months. With that said, there is no word on how far pregnant she is and when the baby will be born, although a bump isn't visible until between 12 and 20 weeks. This seems to explain Cassie's recent departure from the wrestling business, with her briefly being part of the Impact Wrestling roster following her WWE release in April 2021, alongside her tag team partner Billie Kay, aka Jessie McKay. The two would go on to win the Impact Knockouts tag titles before later requesting their Impact release in April 2022, something that was granted immediately following public announcements from both sides. Of course, we wish Cassie and Shawn our congratulations on their upcoming little one. Next up, a former TNA champion is set to make their AEW debut. Last night on AEW Dynamite, it was revealed that former TNA Knockouts champion Madison Rayne would be making her All Elite debut on this week's edition of Rampage, which will air live on Friday night. With that said, it was then revealed that a special episode of AEW Dark Elevation will air tonight, that being on Thursday night, instead of the typical Monday, where Rayne will be part of the commentary team for a match between Hikaru Shida and Emi Sakura. This match was actually taped before last night's episode of AEW Dynamite. The taping would set up a match for Madison for this Friday on Rampage, although we'll keep the details quiet for those wanting to avoid spoilers. Madison is said to have joined AEW as a player coach, with her becoming an important figure backstage for the women's division. But what do you make of Madison Rayne making her AEW debut? Let me know in the comments down below. Next up, Vince McMahon's retirement was referenced on AEW Dynamite. Over the past few weeks, the wrestling world has been shook by multiple stories concerning former WWE chairman Vince McMahon, who has been forced to retire from the company after allegations of sexual misconduct, with Nick Khan and Stephanie McMahon replacing him as co-CEOs, with Triple H taking the reins as head of creative. Well, this week, the Acclaim's Max Caster would mention the situation during his pre-match rap on AEW Dynamite, stating that he's going to make the Gun Club retire during their dumpster match, and he would say, "No filter, I ain't Instagram, we make the ass boys retire like Vince McMahon." Interestingly, one of WWE's prize assets, John Cena, would react to the rap, posting a captionless image of Max Caster on his Instagram story, seemingly a nod to the rapping wrestler. Of course, Cena broke out in WWE with a similar gimmick. This is somewhat surprising, knowing Cena is very much a company guy, although he likely respects the gall of Caster, who isn't afraid to stir the pot. And before we continue, make sure you drop a like on the video if you're enjoying it, and subscribe to the channel with notifications turned on so you don't miss the latest wrestling news. Next up is AEW's television deal in jeopardy. As we know, All Elite Wrestling broadcast their main television shows on Warner Discovery's TNT and TBS stations, with Dynamite airing on Wednesday nights on TBS, whilst Rampage airs on Friday nights on TNT. With that said, over the past few days, Warner have begun the process of cutting their budgets, perhaps most prominently being the cancellation of the Batgirl movie that was heading for cinemas and HBO Max later this year. On the latest edition of the Wrestling Observer Radio, Dave Meltzer would discuss the possibility of these cuts reaching AEW, with this potentially being bad news for the company and its fans. And Meltzer would note, really the biggest stuff is the Warner Bros. Discovery news, which, if you're an AEW fan, the last 2 days, not good news at all. They're slashing everything. They're really trying to cut a lot of money, and they know that the one thing they feel they have to keep, which is going to cost them a lot of money, is the NBA. So it's going to be very interesting to see. It's probably the worst possible time to go in there and ask for a big raise now. It's going to be very interesting. I don't see AEW being cancelled. Most weeks it's the most popular show, unless it's during NBA season. It's the most popular show on either TNT or TBS, so you're not going to cut the highest rated show. I mean, it's possible, I've seen it happen, but it's probably not going to happen. Despite not believing AEW will be cancelled, the Warner cuts could have an impact on any future deals between the two sides, and he would add, but as far as giving AEW a big increase in rights fees, they're going to have to find outside bidders, and then that becomes problematic because if you go to a weaker station, your numbers aren't going to look as good. One of the great things about being on TBS is, especially coming off of The Big Bang Theory, you've got a good lead-in, you've got a station that people actually watch. The key way the company is going to be able to make money is through television rights, and if your parent company is slicing budgets everywhere and in ways people do not expect it, such as stopping movies in production, stopping TV shows in production, it's been a bloodletting there. There's probably still more to come. The last 2 days haven't looked good if you've been following the story at all. Whether or not the ongoing Warner cuts affect All Elite Wrestling remains to be seen, but it's certainly a situation worth keeping an eye on in the coming months. And next, where is MJF? Ever since the worked shoot promo in early June on AEW Dynamite, the wrestling world has been talking about one man, MJF. The promo would blur the lines between reality and kayfabe, with the fans left wondering how much of the angle is real or not. Whilst the feud does appear to be a work based on real-life animosity, both AEW president Tony Khan, who is the target of the promo, and MJF both continued to keep kayfabe alive, with no mention from either side regarding the situation. In an update from Fightful Select last night, it was noted that nobody in AEW, including his friends, have admitted to hearing from Maxwell since the infamous promo, and they would note, Fightful have followed up numerous times about where MJF has been since his post-Double or Nothing promo on AEW Dynamite. We've not heard from a single AEW talent or staffer that has admitted to hearing from him since then, and even plenty of people who have worked with him or are close to him have said that he's not communicated with them whatsoever. It has been confirmed that MJF would stay in Los Angeles for several days after the promo, which took place at the Forum in Hollywood, with him said to have been taking part in non-wrestling on-screen related meetings, either for television or movie projects. Fightful noted that there was word last week that Max was spotted in New Jersey to film something with the cast of Impractical Jokers, a show that is broadcast on True TV, a Warner Bros. Discovery station, although it's not clear if this was for that show or not. The report then confirmed that AEW president Tony Khan hasn't been heard talking about MJF since, with Fightful adding, everyone we've spoken to says they've not overheard Tony Khan speak about MJF whatsoever since the June 1st promo. So far, we haven't heard of anyone in wrestling that has said that they've even spoken to MJF since he left either. Some people within AEW believe that despite the heat being turned into an angle on screen, that MJF is on his way out of the door in favor of a move for WWE. That said, this is based on information from before the pipe bomb. You'd imagine that this is now more likely with Vince McMahon no longer pulling the strings, especially with rumors of WWE turning TV 14, which would allow MJF to be more himself. Fightful would end with the fact that it's unheard of that a talent has been this unreachable for this amount of time. This either shows Maxwell Solo's dedication to the angle, or perhaps further highlights his desire to leave AEW after all. The best part is, nobody truly knows. And before you go, make sure you check out 10 masked AEW wrestlers unmasked.